Go out west to the Pac-12, our final big three. And we've got the fifth ranked Washington Huskies just on the outside looking in on the playoff against the 18th ranked Utah Utes. This is a 2:30 kick on Fox. Fox is a great channel to watch some early football, at least in the first two windows. The Huskies, 9.5 point favorites as of this recording. Guys, Washington got after USC a week ago. They got Alex Grinch fired. Hooray. I didn't get to react to that in real time, but finally, someone at USC took a dose of common sense.
Jared, you
Um,
still have the banner. Can we run that one more time?
While he looks for that, Dylan Johnson, the man of the hour last week, 26 carries, 256
Hey.
yards, 4 touchdowns. If you're on the YouTube side, we're celebrating Alex Grinch getting fired at USC. Um, I This might be Washington's biggest test outside of Oregon. Not because Utah is going to be able to hang with them, I don't think, if this gets into a shootout, but mostly because Washington has struggled at inexplicable times against some not very good defenses. And now, statistically, they're playing one of the best defenses in the entire country. Is 9.5 too big of a number for you guys?
It certainly could be. I think that Washington exercised a lot of demons last week personally against USC. They've definitely fallen asleep against some lowly opponents, but when they have played bigger competition, they have been, lights out. So I think that this game certainly has their attention. Obviously, coming home after a big win, they're not going to look ahead next week because I know they have Oregon State, another ranked team, but Utah has their full attention this week, and that defense has their full attention as well. I'm concerned about the athleticism of Utah. We highlighted right here in our X's and O's, Utah secondary has to be great. And we've seen them a couple times this year falter in these more athletic games. Like even, thinking back to the first week of the season against Florida, I know Florida didn't move the ball, but their athletes gave them problems. Baylor had some athletes that gave them problems. USC, I know they're a whole different animal, but still putting up 32 points. I think Washington's athletes are going to give Utah problems, and I just don't know that Utah, even though their offenses look better recently against USC and against Arizona State, I don't know that Utah has the horses to keep up when Washington is humming. So for that reason, I'm going to lean towards Washington in this one.
Yeah, I want to put a little bit of pause on this one because Washington they've looked better on offense the last couple weeks. Both on the road, obviously USC, and then they played. I guess Stanford scored 42 as well. That Arizona State game a couple weeks ago, they only scored 15,
Yeah.
and I think that was a defensive touchdown in that game that ended up
It was
one.
a weird game. Yeah,
It was just a very bizarre game to watch super late at night while I was editing the podcast, but. It's very, very bizarre to think about what's going on at this offense just because it feels like they started the year slinging it around and they've really struggled to find that rhythm again. They found it last week running the football. It was running the football that got them back on track last week.
Yeah.
Guys, the Utah Utes give up 81 yards per game on the ground. That's pretty dang good. That's a great defensive unit. So put me in the camp of I don't think Washington's going to run the ball very well this week. So this is really going to be on the arm of Michael Penix Jr. to figure this thing out and move this offense ahead. This is going to be the big moment for him. If he's going to win the Heisman Trophy, this is his Heisman moment right here. He's got to have a huge game, right? I don't think that there's going to be much going for him on the ground. And guys, if he's going to have that big game, I think they're going to be able to put it away. I'm just a little bit nervous that it's not going to quite be 100% and that the offense isn't going to quite be humming and that Utah is going to be able to mess around like they did with USC, kind of shut down a high-powered offense and just kind of play a little bit of weird football on the road where they're running the ball. They find a little lightning in the bottle. We highlighted Jaquindon Jackson as a running back to watch here.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets going, he's almost impossible to stop on the ground. And I haven't necessarily been impressed with Washington's defense relative to other top teams. So I look, guys, this is a dangerous spot for Washington. It's a big prove it moment for them. I think that 9.5 is a little bit too much for me.
I came into this season telling you don't sleep on the Washington defense, and I've been partly right. They've been able to make big plays. They've been able to get stops when they need to, but in totality, they're still giving up a lot of yards. They're 103rd in the country in total defense right now, which, as I check my notes, does not seem like all that elite, right? It's
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 not elite.
honestly it's honestly super impressive. It's all that much more impressive that Washington is in the position that they are, undefeated on the cusp of a playoff berth, which would be the second in program history, with a defense that's not even in the top 100. Think about that. Uh, and so for that, as we kind of move into these final three picks here, I'm gonna go with Utah plus the 9.5. Listen, does Utah's offense scare me? No, but for all the reasons that Garrett said, I don't know that Dylan Johnson can explode the way that he did last week against a porous USC defense. I do think Michael Penix is going to have to step up. I think he's going to have to make those plays, and I think he will. I just think Utah's going to be able to get enough to where it makes me curious if they can hold on to this number. I've got a feeling that Utah keeps it closer than 9.5, so I'm going to ride with the Utes. Washington wins, but just a few too many points for me.
It's a big number for sure. And I think Utah is a different animal in the month of November. I think we can all agree that they are a November, December team. But I just keep going back to, I don't know who covers Rome. I don't know who covers these receivers. We just have seen a few times this year, big athletic receivers, fast receivers give Utah problems this year. So I think Washington, I think this is a great game, first of all. I think it's going to be a close back and forth game. But Washington pulls away late, somewhere in the 34-21 range, 34-17 range for me.
Yeah, I think Utah keeps this really close. I'm going to put Washington on upset alert here. I think there's a real chance Utah wins this game. I almost picked them outright. Now, I know that I love my Utes. I'm certainly going to be cheering for them because, I mean, it's my Utes, right? I can't turn my back on them now. But look, if you go on the road and you run the ball, you take the crowd out of it a little bit early, and you find a way to hang around and you get the offense out of rhythm, I think that's the model for Washington to lose this game. And I just think that Utah's right there. I think that this is the best team that they've played that runs that model of offense, right? They're not going to make some of the mistakes Oregon made when they beat them. They're not going to be, pushing forward on fourth down and really trying to go back and forth in a shootout. They're going to try to keep Michael Penix Jr. off the field. And they're going to try to keep him on the sidelines. And I think it's going to more or less work. How this one ends up, I still think Washington is talented enough to win this game, and they should win this game. But put them on upset alert, and let's, maybe Utah doesn't make the championship game this year, but they're just here to ruin all those championship game aspirations for everybody else in the conference.
Well, on that note, just real quick, and you guys can answer this just yes or no if you want, because I know we need to move on. If Utah wins this game, is the Pac-12 out of the playoff?
Whew. I'm going to say
Oregon.
no. Yeah, I'm going to say Oregon still has a chance, but it's
Oregon has looked good enough against enough teams that I think if Oregon wins out in some big ways, like if they stomp all over USC and if they beat up on Oregon State and they just look really good on the way out, I still think eye test will get them there.
But it's close.
Okay.
It is close. Yeah.
Definitely close.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
Yeah. Answer that food for thought. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Let us know if Washington does lose this. Is the Pac-12 out of the playoff? Definitely let us know what your take is there.
Gracious him. How about